Yo, what is up?
Yo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Doing NBA picks today. Crazy week, man. Yo, all of this, you want to know what's been going on with my life in the last 5 days? All of this happened within the last 5 days for me. So, my brother's wife got rushed to the hospital. She had felt tingling in her legs. So, she was in there. While she's in there, my uncle passes away, my great uncle. Very sad, nice guy. My great aunt, super nice lady, and very sad. Then, my brother's wife, while in the hospital, they find a growth on her spinal cord and needs to be rushed into surgery. So that whole day, that was on Friday, and I'm texting my brother like, "Yo, updates." Like, it was very serious. Good news, she was in the hospital for like 6 days. She's out now and recovering, so all that's good. And then my cat died 2 days after that. So all within a 5-day stretch. Just really, really rough week for me here. As far as, let's switch to a little more lighthearted topic, NBA bets. As far as the NBA goes, I'm getting hammered, man. I mean, even last night, I thought I had it capped right. The Phoenix Suns -7 is one of the top bets. They're up 10 with 4 minutes to go. They ended up losing by like 12. Like, the Washington Wizards in Phoenix went on like a 21-4 run to end the game. A lot of shit like that going on, but it's the NBA. It's always really unpredictable. So I just wanted to give a disclaimer. I have not been hot in the NBA, so I didn't want to, before we go through this.
Have I. Last night I bet on Jokic. I bet his over in PRAs. And essentially the situation was, if he has 35 plus minutes at home without Jamal Murray, he's cashed 14 straight, averaging about 53 PRAs per game. The man went under. It's just like, we can't catch a break here, but we're going to get it going today. I'm feeling good about this slate. I have tons of bets out.
There's a couple I really like, too. There's always going to be an element of that in any sport, but especially in the NBA, because there's a lot of unpredictability to it. That's why you'll see a lot of the more serious pro handicappers this time of year. They focus more on college basketball than NBA. Makes complete sense. I love the NBA. I love watching it, so we do the best we can, but it's tough. So anyway, let's get started. Pistons at Sixers, and kind of a weird one here. It's kind of like the battle of two trends. So I'm putting up 2 bets. I even got a prop for this one, Beaver.
Yeah, I just saw your prop. Wow, very interesting. I like it though.
How did you see it?
Everybody, because
you can see my screen. Yeah. Wow, I don't like that.
Now I can see your trade secrets.
I didn't even think. Well, let me just make sure this line's still at 11.5. Has it moved? It's at 12 now, so I'll take the extra half. I'm gonna put lean next to this. So I'm leaning. If I had to pick for the video, I'll pick the Pistons. The one I'll actually bet, Isaiah Stewart over 7.5 rebounds at plus 110. Let me make this fit in the screen. I'm going with the yellow font. I'm thinking everyone can see yellow. We're still trying to figure that out, the best way to display the picks. It's a work in progress.
I actually like that.
I think that's
a good idea. It's a less violent yellow than the one we looked at yesterday.
Yeah, I softened it. So basically, are the Pistons on the road a must-play at this point? They're 8-0-1 against the spread in their last 9. 6-0-1 against the spread in their last 7 games as double-digit underdogs. So right off the bat, you're like, oh, gotta play Detroit, right? Like, how do you not play them in that situation? Well, Philadelphia's 11-1 against the spread in their last 12 home games. In fact, they had 11 in a row that just got snapped. And they just missed that cover in overtime, too. So something's got to give here. Despite the Sixers' recent success at home, they've actually been non-existent on the glass at all. In the month of December, they're 29th in offensive rebounding rate and 29th in defensive ORB percentage. So they're not grabbing offensive boards, and they can't keep people off their offensive boards, which is exactly what brought me to the Isaiah Stewart bet. Say what you want about the guy. He's inconsistent, but he is active on the offensive glass. So at plus money, I'll take the over 7.5 rebounds. And I might place a few dollars on the Pistons plus 12, but it won't be on the VIP ticket.
I'll tell you what, I like your Isaiah Stewart bet, because the most public bet I think I've ever seen yesterday was Jalen Duren over 10.5 rebounds.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bet it so bad, but I was like, listen, this will be my check. Like, if the books are actually just giving out free money, then he will go over 10.5, and he had 14 rebounds. So whatever. I think he's due for a down night on the boards. It's not just a charity out here with the books. So I do like that Isaiah Stewart, especially because Embiid, he's so good on the boards that usually it's opposing power forwards that have to pick up the slack, and Stewart is playing the 4 nowadays. My favorite bet for this game, I went with James Harden over 15.5 rebounds and assists, -130 for a full unit. Do you need me to repeat that?
No, rebound is assist, you said, right? And -130? Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit extra juice, but I don't mind laying it here just because of the hit rate. He's cashed now 6 straight against the Detroit Pistons, averaging 19.6 rebounds and assists. And what led me to this was the fact that Joel Embiid's rebounds, he was the first play that I was looking at, because although Jalen Duren's a beast, opposing centers are getting more rebounds now because Durant hangs around the basket. Well, so are opposing point guards. And Detroit's allowing the 4th most rebounds to point guards and 6th most assists over the last 2 weeks. If we look on the season, they're bottom 5 in assists allowed and rebounds allowed to point guards. Harden's also 5-1 to this line with 1 day rest at home. If you know me and you watch my videos, I am a split machine. I love the splits. And at home with 1 day rest, the guy is 5-1 to the line, averaging 20 rebounds and assists per game. Prime spot to light it up again tonight. There's a reason FanDuel has this at 16.5.
You love that 1 day rest shit. You're always talking about that,
dude. I love the rest.
What did you say that stat was? Pistons against point guards.
Pistons. They allow the 4th most rebounds and 6th most assists over the last 2 weeks, and on the season they're bottom both. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Bucks at Cleveland, and I'm actually almost positive that me and AJ are on opposite sides of this one because I flipped. I'm all over Cleveland here. Let me just make sure.
Oh no, I'm very much on the same side as you.
I thought when we were texting last night, you were saying you liked the Bucks, or was I tired?
No, yeah, you were tired because I called you earlier today, and I called about 2 player props, and I said, "Do you like Cleveland and do you like the Timberwolves?" Because I like blank. I'll say what my picks are after you go.
All right, so I'm on Cleveland. And the reason is, I actually like Cleveland. The more I looked into it, the more I really talked myself into liking the Cavs here. I really just like the spot a lot better than I do for Milwaukee. This Cavs game is huge for the Bucks. Don't get me wrong. This isn't like a down spot or anything. These are division rivals. This is the 1 seed versus the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. But the thing is, if you look at the Bucks' recent schedule and upcoming schedule, for that matter, Bucks came off that huge upset win over the Pelicans. And right after this Cavs game, they go to Brooklyn to play the Nets for another rivalry game. That's huge. Probably going to be the game of the night. Milwaukee's beaten Cleveland twice already on the season. They're 2-0 against the Cavs. And yeah, obviously they want to beat them a third time. But the point I'm making here, so look at the Bucks in the last 8 days. They've seen Golden State, at Memphis, at New Orleans, now the Cavs, and then next they go to Brooklyn. So the Bucks have a bunch of games circled on their calendar this week. The Cavs, they played Dallas twice, Western Conference games. The Cavs have 1 game circled this week, and it's this one. The team that's the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, their division rival, and the team that beat them twice already. If there's 1 game that Cleveland wants to steal from the Bucks, it's this one. Also, keep in mind, both of the games that Cleveland lost to Milwaukee earlier in this year, like I said, they're 0-2 against the Bucks. Both were without Jarrett Allen, which obviously we know how valuable he is to Cleveland's lineup. So I'm definitely on the Cavs here, and it's up at 2.5 now. Yep, I put it on. So Cavs.
Yeah, so I love Giannis Antetokounmpo's under here. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. I know a lot of people don't like betting against the greats.
Under what? Under what?
29.5 points plus 100. That's on FanDuel.
Okay. Go ahead.
And he's gone under in his last 4 or 5 games against the Cavs, averaging just 26.8 points per game. Not to mention, Jarrett Allen didn't even play in one of the games earlier this season, like Saul said, and he only had 16 points. Both of those were at home. Now he has to face them on the road, where if you look at Giannis's splits, I mean, he just simply doesn't cash on the road. He's 7-3 to the under on the road overall this season, averaging just 27 points per game. And if we go back to last season, even without Chris Middleton on the road, he's 12-5 to the under, averaging 27 points per game. Now, take into account from Mr. Splits himself that with 1 day rest on the road, he just can't score. 22.8 points per game. He had 16 points against the Rockets defense, for Christ's sakes, in that split. None of these teams have the Twin Towers down low that the Cavs do with Mobley and now Allen back. And at the plus money, I do like the fade spot a lot. Everybody's going to say, oh, like, you got to bet on Giannis, got to bet on Giannis. In this spot, I think you ride with the under here. Got to fade the public.
I could sit with that, yeah. 29.5 for sure. The Bucks have been through the gauntlet recently. If you look at their schedule, it's like, Jesus Christ, every single game is the game of the night for this team for like a week and a half straight.
Yeah.
Next game, Golden State at Brooklyn. I think this one's up to 12.5 now, by the way. Yep, 12.5. And you want to know what my opinion is? They can't make this number high enough. I'm laying the 12.5. It was 11.5 when I wrote down my notes, but I'm still laying the 12.5. It's not that I'm in love with what the Nets are doing. It's more the matchup, and let me figure out how to put a. There we go. Oh man, people, whatever. I'll put it up here. So I'm on the Nets. Golden State has been absolutely awful on the road. I feel like if you're watching this, you already know that. What are they, 3-15 on the road this year or something? Absolutely terrible. They got completely humiliated last night at MSG by the Knicks. And Brooklyn is red hot right now. Now, if this were another team, though, this spot for the Nets, right? If this was a different team, if, for example, if Brooklyn was playing the Spurs tonight in Brooklyn, then this might be a sneaky spot to take the points and go sharp here. Because the Nets have that big Bucks game coming up. That's probably the biggest game of the Nets season up to this point, is their game against Milwaukee in 2 or 3 days. So, could be a look-ahead spot for the Nets. I completely get that. But this is Durant against Golden State. Trust me, he's trying to beat them by 50. Like, there is no flat spot in Durant versus Golden State. Not to mention Kyrie against Draymond. Like, these guys all know each other. They're trying to beat the Warriors by 40, 50 points. Nobody takes the Warriors lightly, even when they're this hurt. I mean, and so even if you're thinking, right? So they get to Golden State. First, you could be like, it's a flat spot for the Nets. I'm squashing that. I'm saying there is no flat spot in Durant versus Warriors. The second angle you could go with is, yo, what if Jacques Vaughn pulls the Nets starters and they take their foot off the pedal late? 11.5, 12.5 points opens the door for a backdoor cover. The thing is with that, Golden State's been struggling against three-point shooting, and have you seen the Nets' second unit? I mean, Patty Mills, Joe Harris, Seth Curry, TJ Warren, Cam Thomas. I mean, it's nothing but snipers. So even if the Nets do put their second unit in early, take their foot off the pedal, I still like the matchup against Golden State's defense. Nets bet's just loaded with shooters. I'm laying the points.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because I was looking to bet on Jordan Poole's point total, but holy sweet mother of pearl, it's at 27.5 points. That's quite high. You're essentially asking for a really, really, really good night out of him, and I don't really think it's that far-fetched. I'm going to lightly put a half unit on it personally. But honestly, if I had to give a lean for this game that I quite frankly dislike, I would take the Warriors with the points. I just don't think the Nets are that good that you could be laying 12.5 points with this team. I'm yet to see a game this season where it looks like the Nets are this team that you can lay fat points with. I mean, even with that deep bench of shooters, I don't really know where the defense is going to come from for that team. And honestly, I don't know where the offense is going to come for the Warriors, but there's one guy named Jordan Poole who can shoot the lights out at any night. You essentially take his points over and he's going to cash for you. I think he's now cashed his last 25 of 27 games without Steph Curry. I'd have to check that, but he's a cash machine without Curry, no matter the level of defense playing him. So I'd probably lean Warriors and maybe like Warriors plus 20, Pool 20 plus points, SGP. I don't even know. I'm not watching this game.
Okay, all right. I'll just leave your pick up there as GSW plus 12.5.
Yeah, please.
All right, next game. Bulls at Hawks. Is this line still 6.5? It's down to 5.5. So the line movement is not looking good for my side. I'm on the Hawks here. And, I mean, I'll take the extra point, half point. I don't love how it's moving, though. Not going to lie. To me, when you have a team like the Bulls, right? The public's all over Chicago. When I looked earlier, it was the most public bet on the board. And that could be a reason for the line movement. The book's just simply reacting to the action. That's it. But when you have a team like Chicago that's in a big market, right? They got some superstars out there. Even though we all kind of don't really see the Bulls as a threat, there are people that do think the Bulls could be a top team in the East. And rightfully so. They show signs of it. But when you're dealing with a team like that has potential like that, and has believers, all it takes is one good game to really swing the public their way. And they had it. They just beat Miami on the road. They went down to South Beach and beat the Heat. But number one, Miami's been terrible at home. They're an NBA worst 3-12 against the spread at home. So beating the Heat in Miami is not an accomplishment, trust me. Also, this Bulls team is 3-7 straight up and 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. They're not playing good basketball. And you might be thinking, yo, Sauce, neither are the Hawks. You'd be right in saying that. But the thing is, the Hawks have been dealing with so many injuries. And they got pretty much all their pieces back now. DeJounte Murray back in the lineup. John Collins back in the lineup. Clint Capella is going to miss tonight, and that hurts. But that's if Clint Capella is the only guy they're missing, this is going to be a more full-strength Hawks team than we've seen in the last month or so. I know DeJounte Murray came back last game too, but he's finally back in the lineup. Hawks at home, always a solid bet, have been for a couple years now. And get this. Atlanta just beat Chicago at home in Atlanta 10 days ago without Collins and without Murray. Trae Young had an awful game, and they still beat him. Now they got all these guys back. I think the Hawks cruise to an easy win here.
Yeah, I definitely like your side there because I do think the Bulls are definitely overvalued. This team is, quite frankly, awful in my opinion. But I'm going to go with another prop here that I like quite a bit. Usually I don't bet to win, I bet to risk, but I'm gonna bet 1.3 units to win one here, and I'm betting DeMar DeRozan over 4.5 assists. I think it's an insanely good spot for him to rack up the assists as he plays an Atlanta team that he's steadily dimed on. In his last 8 games against Atlanta, he's cashed in 7 of them, averaging 7.8 assists per game, and he's reached 8+ assists in all those cashes. That's something to note because if you like to ladder some plays up like myself, then we could get some nice value there. In terms of possession time, passes made, and potential assists, DeRozan is the point guard for this Bulls team, essentially. And the Hawks are allowing the 7th most assists per game to point guards over the last 2 weeks. Now add in the fact that Caruso is questionable and Dragic is out. Without Caruso, going back to last season on the road, he's 13-4 to the over, averaging 6.4 assists. And this season on the road, even with Caruso, he's now cashed 11-16 games, averaging 5, and his last 8-10, averaging 6.1. The icing on the cake. DeMar DeRozan, with no days rest, is an animal. 6-2 to the over on the road, going back to last season, averaging 7. Most books remove the line with the Caruso news, but FanDuel and PointsBet still have it up. I would take this at 5.5 for full unit at plus money, so 4.5 is a joke to me. Love this play.
Did you say DeRozan's averaging 7.8 assists against the Bulls? Did I hear that correctly?
In an 8-game sample size, yes.
It's still cool. All right, next game. Pacers at Celtics. This line was up to 10 last I looked. Yeah, it's at 10. So, I don't like this one. I don't like when I feel like I'm being forced to pick a side. Give me the Pacers plus 10, but I don't like how it feels like the sports books made that decision for me. I mean, it feels like I'm betting exactly what they want me to bet, and I hate that feeling. We're talking about a Boston Celtics team that's lost 4 of its last 5 games, including back-to-back home losses to the Orlando Magic. And I'm not talking about losses against the spread. They got beat straight up twice in a row at home by the Magic. Just 1-4 in their last 5 games. Obviously, we know Boston is a top 3, top 5 team in the NBA. No one's questioning that. But are they playing like that right now? Certainly not. I'm not comfortable laying 10 with Boston, especially to a Pacers team that hasn't been beat by double digits in its last 9 games. The Pacers are struggling. They're not getting blown out. So this line, it seems like the books are taking a position. They're probably on the Celtics here, and they're probably trying to get us to bet the Pacers. So I may be the biggest sucker ever for this, but I'm taking the points. Half unit tops. It might not even make the ticket, honestly.
Yeah, it's also one of my least favorite games on the board. The Pacers are bottom 6 team defending the 3-ball on the road over the last month, and usually that's great. You think the Celtics, well, their bread and butter is the 3-ball. They're third in frequency over the last month. The issue, the 3-ball has stopped falling. 28th in efficiency with the 3-ball over the last 30 days. I'm more so just hoping here that 2 straight losses to the Orlando Magic whips them into shape and the jump shot starts flowing. Normally, I would also fade the Pacers with ease on the road, but the Celtics struggles make this a bit tougher. I just saw that a good portion of the money, last time I checked, it was about 85% of the money was on the Pacers, and the line just kind of kept growing. And the line keeps growing, and I don't know. Tells me the books like Boston, so do I. I'll bet with Boston minus 10. It's disgusting, and I would never bet more than half a unit on it, but if I had to pick something, that's what I would pick. And honestly, I would not bet this without Marcus Smart. If Marcus Smart doesn't play, then I would probably move to Indiana.
Let me see if there's an update on Smart before we move on. Indiana, Boston. Nope, he's still a game time decision. Oh, yeah. To this comment, I have a habit of doing this. I'm wearing a Celtics hat, didn't even realize. I feel like whenever I'm wearing a team's apparel, I end up fading them in that video. It's not intentional. I just have shit for like all the teams.
A dirtbag move.
Yeah, for real. Sorry, Celtics fans, for the tease. I'm such a cock tease. All right, next up, Game 6, Raptors at Knicks. I mean, who's fading the Knicks right now? I don't care if this looks like the biggest trap ever. The Knicks.
It does look like the biggest trap.
Right.
In
It looks like
history,
the books
dude.
are trying to get everyone to bet the Knicks. I don't care. The Knicks have won and covered 8 games and spreads in a row. I'm not jumping in front of the Knicks train right now. Who's trying to do that? Yeah, this line at minus 1.5 in Madison Square Garden, it definitely looks like the books are trying to draw in everybody into betting the Knicks. That's what it looks like. So if the Raptors win and cover tonight, that means the books got us. We are suckers. But I'm not 8 in a row. 8 in a row. I'm not fading that. Not to mention I'm a Knicks fan, so it's tough for me to get there. So I'm gonna lay the 1.5 for the Knicks. Not gonna be a huge bet, but I will be putting some dollars on it.
Yeah, I mean, if I really wanted to fade my Knicks, I would. I will not be doing that today, but I'm also not going to be betting on the Knicks either. I'm going to be betting on the Knicks defense here. Give me the Raptors team total under 108.5 points. The Raptors offense looks like a pile of shit on the road and now has to face the number 1 defense in the NBA over the last 2 weeks. Ruh-roh, Scoobs. The Raptors on the road have not only gone under their last 4 or 5 games, averaging just 104 points per game, but in their last 3 or 4 visits to MSG, averaging just 101 points. 4 straight opponents to visit MSG have flown under this total, averaging 91 points per game. And the last 7 to 8 opponents to face the Knicks overall have gone under, averaging 98 points per game. The Raptors' only strength offensively over the last 2 weeks has been at the rim. But guess what? The Knicks were 6th in rim defensive efficiency over the last 2 weeks. And ultimately, this is the 29th offense in effective field goal percentage over the last 2 weeks against the number 1 defense in effective field goal percentage over the last 2 weeks. I think the Knicks defense rolls again here, and I think there's a ton of value on this number.
Yeah, I like that. I just went and added it.
Okay.
Another one where it's like, who wants to jump in front of this trade? We got Magic at Rockets here, and I know the Magic being favored is different than what we've been seeing. Favored on the road still, but do you know that the Orlando Magic are 8-0 against the spread in their last 8? I mean, another one where it's like, this team is rolling right now. Why are we trying to step in front of this train? They just continue to roll. We've definitely seen improvements from Houston too. They're still a bottom 10 team in the league, probably. But I wouldn't call Houston a bottom 5 team anymore. Houston looks better. But still, this Magic team seems to be really turning a corner right now. Let me just make sure the line hasn't moved. No, it's 1.5 now. Why did I put 2.5 then? 1.5. So yeah, give me Orlando minus 1.5 for the simple fact that they've covered 8 in a row.
Yeah, I can't really argue that. I will say something I was looking at is that the Houston defense at home over the last month is top 10 in the league. Very surprising. And the Orlando defense has also been top 10. So this is kind of a sneaky underlook. I'm not going to bet it because the history in this matchup is 5-1-1 to the over in the last 7 at Houston, but that's something I thought I'd bring up. And the Magic are also 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 at Houston, so they have some nice history there. My bet for this game, Jabari Smith Jr. over 7.5 rebounds plus 112 on FanDuel. This is similar to the Jalen Duren one, where it's just like, I don't understand the disrespect. Jabari Smith at home is a goddamn wagon on the boards, now cashing his last 9 to 10 games with 29 plus minutes, averaging 8.6. And the thing is about those minutes, he's starting to get a lot more of them. 30 plus minutes in his last 8 to 10 games, and he's starting to build trust with Silas, not only on the offensive front, but the defensive front as well. And great for us, the Magic allowed the 4th most rebounds per game to power forwards over the last 30 days. And now I know what you're thinking. If you saw the last time these two teams played, you're going to say, AJ, this guy had a single rebound the last time he played him. Why on earth would we bet him? And I'm going to tell you this. It's the splits. It's the splits. You play the splits. The guy is simply much more aggressive on the rebounds at home. And not only that, but he only played 22 minutes in that game, and Wendell Carter was playing. If you look at the Magic's numbers on the season, they don't allow that many rebounds to power forwards. When they started allowing a lot of rebounds to power forwards is when Wendell Carter missed, and that last month period. That's when we're starting to see it happen. And Jabari Smith played them in early November, so that wasn't part of the same time period. At plus money, 7.5 rebounds. It seems like a lot, but he's the force there in Houston on the boards. Sengun takes the nights off at home. I don't know what is the deal with that. The Rockets are probably one of the most split-heavy teams in the league, but Sengun takes the nights off. Smith eats at home. That's the rules. That's how I expect it to go again. At plus money, love the value.
I can get down with that. As long as the Magic are winning.
As long as that, yeah, dude, I don't care.
Next game, Portland at OKC. So I am
off one, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm gonna lay the points with Portland. I'm on a lot of favorites tonight, which is usually not, especially in the NBA. That's usually not where I land. But this is a simple case of me playing the seesaw here. Oklahoma City just got the Blazers the other night, so it's the same matchup, same location. Obviously, OKC got the win, and I think Portland evens the odds. I mean, I'm probably not going to bet a lot of this game. The Portland injury report is really sketchy looking. Right now, Lillard, Grant, Nurkic, and Josh Hart all listed as game-time decisions. If there was only 4 NBA games tonight, I would say, like, screw it. Let's throw a half unit on the Blazers. But there's 11. There's no reason to force any plays. If all those guys play for Portland, I am on the Blazers minus 3.5.
Yeah. So I put the same thing. Not my favorite on the board. But OKC has now both. I didn't mean to say the same thing. I don't know why I just said that. I'm actually going with the Thunder plus 3.5. My bad.
Oh shit.
I just had I had a mouth fart. OKC is now both covered and won their last 8 to 10 games against the Trailblazers, and it just seems like they have their number. Not much to read from the line movement, but it did move a half point towards OKC with the money split, so they may be trying to entice some Blazers bets, and I'd see why they'd want us to do that, because the Blazers are pretty hot right now. They've covered their last 7 to 8 games against the spread heading into that loss against OKC, but the problem is, the Thunder are also wagons. They're 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 games. So we have 2 wagons here. Hard to pick which one to fade. But if there's one I'm going to fade, it's the one who's lost their last 8 of 10 against the other team. So give me the Thunder. Give me the points. I like them at home. Not only that, but Josh Giddey could be returning to the lineup tonight. That would be a nice boost. So yeah, I like Thunder. I like the points.
How long has he been out though? Because I saw him playing like a few nights ago.
Oh, he just didn't play in the last.
Oh,
game.
I was gonna say like he couldn't have been out too long. I should have sworn I just seen him.
Yeah, no, it's not like a season-long boost. It's just like a little instant boost from the last game.
Right. All right. Next up, Dallas at Minnesota. Same exact thing. There's no reason to back the Mavericks here, and I'm doing it. They've been terrible recently. All right, so this is the same exact situation, same exact line as the last game. You got two teams that just played. Minnesota stole the first one. I am a little worried that Minnesota matches up well against Dallas, especially defensively. But the fact remains that the Timberwolves won by 10. They just beat Dallas by 10. Naz Reid and Anthony Edwards had big games offensively, scoring. And Luka Doncic was ice cold. I really don't expect Luka Doncic to be ice cold 2 games in a row. And I don't expect someone like Naz Reid to drop back-to-back 27-point nights. And Anthony Edwards has been inconsistent and streaky this year as well. So I just think the regression comes back the other way, and Dallas grabs the win. I mean, the Mavs have lost 5 of their last 7. They're really not playing well. Finney Smith is out. I see why there's so much money on Minnesota. The Sharps are all over the T-Wolves, but I'm going square here. I think Luka pulls it out with some Luka magic, even though the matchup, I agree, probably does lean Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know if I could hate the spot for Luka more. This guy does not perform against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is a known fact. It is written in the history of time. This guy cannot produce in the great state of Minnesota. It has now been 8 games since Luka has cashed against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The last time he did that was 2018. 2018. It's been quite a long time. So he's going to go under yet again because
so is your bet Luka under? Luka under?
Yeah, Luka under 39.5 points plus assists. Jaden McDaniels had that man in actual hell last game, and I expect him to do it again. I liked what I saw from McDaniels because he was very aggressive. It didn't seem like he was phased whatsoever by Luka, and I feel like a lot of defenders these days are phased and are just getting stunted on by him. But he put Luka in a lot of situations where he had to pass to an open shooter who quickly got crowded and then pass it to the next open shooter. What does that do? Well, it takes away not only shot opportunities, but assist opportunities. And that's why the guy's gone under. He's gone under his points total in 9 straight against his team. He's gone under his assist total in 8 straight against his team. As a result, he's failed to meet this total in 9 straight against Minnesota, averaging just 27 points and assists per game. Chiefs, that is 12 points and assists below our total tonight. And even though he did put up some points despite shooting awfully last game, now you're going to insert Tim Hardaway Jr. into the mix. Now Dwight Powell is going to be playing in this game. Rudy Gobert may be returning in this game. So with even less opportunities and possibly a better defender on the floor, I think his outlook actually gets worse. Not only that, but let's just talk about it. Luka has gone under this mark in his last 10 of 12 road games, averaging 43.8. And last season, we were very successful at fading Luka. If you follow my page, we pick our spots because on the road against certain teams, he just doesn't perform. It's against the Timberwolves. It's against the Nuggets. I'm going to just keep playing it because it keeps making us money.
Yeah, but you're leaving out the fact that he's played back-to-back games against Minnesota here. It's too immediate. It's too immediate.
So what does that do?
I mean, Luka Doncic's not going to go 5 for 18 2 nights in a row. He just won't.
He actually did it his last 2 road games. He went 5 of 17 and then 5 of 18.
Against the same team?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, but now they'll have better defenders on the floor.
Lakers
I don't know.
At Kings. I mean, another one where it's... How can I take the Lakers right now? I think we're back into fade Lakers mode. And at least until Anthony Davis returns. I'm on the Kings -6, or is that 7 now? Yep, it's up to 7. So I'm on Kings -7. Kings -7. So the Lakers are 0-2 against the spread since Anthony Davis went down again. Shocker. I don't even like Anthony Davis, but it's so clear how important he is to that team, both offensively and defensively. LeBron, I think, is going to play, so there is some hope on that front for the Lakers. But you got the Kings coming off arguably their worst loss of the entire season. It doesn't get much worse than losing at home to the Charlotte Hornets. I think they were 10.5-point favorites too and lost straight up. So you got a Kings team with a chip on their shoulder, coming off an ugly loss. Without Anthony Davis, I'm sure the Lakers will have stretches where they're really struggling to find a bucket. I feel a lot safer on the Kings than I am taking the points with the Lakers, so I'm laying them.
Yeah, so for this one, I actually found some sneaky value with Anthony Davis out. It took a little bit of digging, but guess who's benefiting most from the big man AD being out? It's not Thomas Bryant. It's Dennis Schroeder, who is averaging 20.3 points per game and 13 field goal attempts per game in 4 games without AD this season. And guess what? In games with 10-plus field goal attempts this season, Schroeder's 5-1 to the over, averaging 19 points per game. And if we go back to last season, he's 19-6 to the over in these scenarios, averaging well over 14 points per game. The Kings haven't particularly struggled versus any position, but they are bottom 6 in defensive free-throw rate in the month of December, and Schroeder has been extra aggressive with AD out, making sure to attack the paint. In his last 6 visits to Sacramento without Anthony Davis, Schroeder has cashed 5 of them, averaging 19 points per game. Now take into account that Russell Westbrook also may be inactive for this game, and if that's the case, then Schroeder would likely play even more minutes and have even more volume. I expect the Kings to force anybody else essentially except LeBron to beat them, and there isn't much of a defensive presence guarding Schroeder. I mean, this totals at 240, for Christ's sakes, 240. Somebody else besides the Kings and LeBron has to score. I think Dennis Schroeder could be that man today.
So what is the bet?
Dennis Schroeder over 13.5 points.
All right, Dennis Schroeder over 13.5 points. Next up.
You think that's how you spell Schroeder?
Oh, there's a C in there. Whoops.
Is that what you think?
There you go.
Dude, I didn't even take notes on this game because I've had enough with the Clippers lineups.
I mean, I'm Clippers. As long as they play, which is a huge. But I'm guessing they're playing based on the line movement. This was at 6.5 last night. It's up to 8.5. Even though the money's coming in on Charlotte, so it's moving the other way. I'm assuming that means that all the Clippers questionables play right now. Zubac, Paul George, and Reggie Jackson all listed as game time decisions. But this line movement tells a story to me that the books are just loving everyone coming in on Charlotte. So I'm going to go the other way and take the Clips here. So,
I'll join in with you on that one, honestly, because simply put, I do not want to bet this Hornets team. I do not want to bet them on the road. And I think that the Clippers are having Norman Powell return. Even if Paul George sits, and let's just say it's Reggie Jackson, Powell, Leonard, Morris, Zubac. Zubats. I always forget that. Friggin' Toast is trying to teach me the pronunciation of these dudes. I think that they should roll over this Hornets team that has no defensive pride whatsoever.
Did Toast give out who he likes in that St. John's Villanova game tonight? Do you know?
I don't know, but his life depends on it.
All right, that's it. Posting the VIP ticket today. There's 2 top bets and 2 parlays. So I'm posting it up in about 15 minutes. Thank you, as always, for watching. And we'll see you on Friday night at midnight. I think we're going to do an NFL show. Because it's Christmas Eve and Christmas, and everyone wants to be with their family. So we're going to do it Friday night before the Saturday NFL day. So I will see you then. Let's make some money tonight. All right, we're clear.